Hey everyone, welcome to the Movie Throne. I'm your host, the one and only King Kansas, here to bring you another movie review. This time, guys, I decided to dip in my own personal vault, or the movie vault in general. What the hell am I talking about? As you guys can see over my shoulder, right over here, I am going to do my quick thoughts and review. Not in full details, I'm not going to spoil a whole bunch of crap. I'm just going to tell you what I thought overall on the 5-film franchise called The Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm going to go through every single movie, starting with the one over here, Curse of the Black Pearl, and move my way all the way down to Dead Men Tell No Tale. Okay, so let's get started, guys. I'm excited. I want to be talking forever because I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose my voice, so I got a bottle of water next to me that I'll quickly drink here and there just so I can keep on yelling at the screen. So, okay. So, anyways, let's start this shindig, as they say, guys. Okay. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. I think it came out in 2003. It stars the one and only Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. We had Orlando Bloom, who played Will Turner, and you had Keira Knightley, who played Elizabeth Swann. So that was the dynamic trio for the next films moving over for the trilogy, because we didn't know we were going to get 5 films, but that was the main actor core. And of course you had substituted villains in and out, and in the first one the main villain in this case was played by Geoffrey Rush. He played Barbossa, and Barbossa was the one who stole the Black Pearl away from Johnny Depp. You didn't know that for the beginning or anything, but we found that as the movie progressed, and there's connections and intertwining. You had Will Turner, Orlando Bloom's character, who got introduced to us as a blacksmith who was very skilled at making swords and stuff. You had Elizabeth Swann, whose father was, like, I guess, an aristocrat, like a British guy in the Empire, really rich and snobby, and she was a part of that. And she was supposed to get married and shit. So you kind of had her beautiful young lady, kind of maybe having a thing for Will Turner here and there on the side without her father knowing. And of course you had pirates who were the outcasts of the whole British Empire and everybody else in the Caribbean, and they were being hunted down. So, but from the opening scene that we saw right to the very end, it was exciting. Even today, after so many years, after the King watched this first film, it still holds up. Yeah, the special effects are not like how they are right now today, but for what we got back then, back in 2003 is when we got Spider-Man, 2002. Special effects were pretty damn good. It was directed by Gore Verbinski. He directed the first 3 films. So if I don't mention it in the other ones, at least you guys are aware of it. And then the last 2, we got 2 different directors. But with the cast with Geoffrey Rush, you had Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, Jonathon Pryce, who played Elizabeth Swann's father, which is Keira Knightley's character's father, to Johnny Depp as the one and only. But yeah, no, it looked cool. Like, it was cool to be a pirate. Special effects looked good. The way the story was told, the actors actually bought into all their characters, which helped overall sell, I guess, the feeling of the whole entire film, the environment. You thought you were living amongst pirates, and it was done well. And loosely based on a Disney theme park ride, they knocked it out of the park. And overall, I enjoyed it. Like, I was thrilled after, like, I think it must have been at least 10 or 15 years since I watched any of these damn films, except the last one, because that came out in 2017. I enjoyed myself. I watched every single, I think it was 2 nights that I spent, and I kind of watched every single one, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not going to recommend you guys do that, but I enjoyed the experience because I wanted to see how it was transition to every single film, and I like The Black Pearl. Okay, now, that brings us to the next installment of Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and that is Dead Man's Chest. That came out in like 3 years later, 2006. It stars the same trio. The only time we got Bill Nighy as Davy Jones. He's the main villain with squid-like tentacles and shit. That was creepy as hell. And we got introduction of him. We even got Stellan Skarsgard character got introduced. We got a little bit of Will Turner's backstory and how he's connected to Bootstrap Bill, who kind of cursed all the pirates in the first one for running off with the coin and stuff like that, and then going down with Davy Jones, who's been working there apparently. That's a spoiler. So we find out that he is connected to Will Turner's character. And I'm pretty much, you guys can figure it out. It's been a lot. No spoilers. You should guys know it's father, okay, guys? Deal with it. And oh my God, what a heartbreaking thing to find out that he was the cause of the first film. And then this, it was so cool, man. Like I'm telling you, you wanted to be a pirate, and this was the film with the tentacles and all that shit. It was nuts, okay? We got more of Johnny Depp's character development, Orlando Bloom's, even Elizabeth Swann butted heads kind of falling for Will Turner, and then now they're kind of like criminals for helping Johnny Depp's character and all that shit. And we even got introduced into Tia Donna or whatever. I'm just going to call her Tia, guys, because I cannot pronounce last names for characters and shit like that. You guys should know me by now. Played by Naomi Harris. She's like the voodoo lady who comes near the end of the film, who allows us to kind of quickly transition to the next film, which just drops a year later. But anyways, in this one, it appears that Johnny Depp gets swallowed by the Kraken. Yes, you heard me right. Not the Seattle Kraken, the Kraken. That was the highlight of this movie. The monster to attack the ships and bring them down and shit like that. Phenomenal. The special effects look pretty damn cool. I'm telling you, it must have been about a good 7 minutes. And to see the betrayal of Elizabeth Swann to get Johnny Depp, and he gets swallowed up to go into this damn thing, you think he's dead. But he ain't dead, because there's another movie. And we know that it's another movie because the next film that we got was At World's End. And that came out in 2007, so a year later. But Dead Man's Chest, loved it. I think I liked it a little bit more than Curse of the Black Pearl, because the Kraken for me was a highlight. That was freaking cool. I loved it. I loved the way that we found out Johnny Depp's character, Jack Sparrow, was isolated and he managed to escape, and he was telling all these stupid stories. That's how his character is. He likes to talk, running his mouth and shit. But yeah, that was cool. And then to see a little bit of Bootstrap Bill in there as well was a highlight for me. I don't know. I liked it. When you throw in wicked actors in films and they deliver, it makes it even more better. And just the portrayal of Elizabeth Swann's character to Jack Sparrow with the Kraken getting eaten alive. And that leads him to the voodoo lady, which brings us to At World's End. Sorry, let's put that damn thing up now. At World's End was pretty cool. We got the trio back. We got also Bill Nighy as thing. And the return at the end of the film, another villain returns. Barbossa comes back, okay? So now you got two villains. You got a villain who's helping Johnny Depp, I guess the other two, to try and rescue Johnny Depp from the Depp. And there's always a backstory. There's something that somebody wants, and that was phenomenal. So that was the whole gist of this film. Finding a way and getting tools that they need in order to get to Johnny Depp's character. And when they do get Johnny Depp back, it's kind of funny when he has to carry like a sand around with him, and he has to get Davy Jones' heart, because that's the only way that you can apparently get rid of him, is whoever possesses the heart. I don't know if I mentioned in the last film, but yeah, that was the whole point of it. He cut out his heart because he didn't want to feel his loss. But we find out at the end of this one that there's a little bit something going on with this voodoo lady, which is pretty cool. But the way things end, and it's kind of like a full circle moment that we got Will Turner ends up making a sacrifice, and because of it, he can't be with Elizabeth, and that's how they kind of exit slowly out of this film. You know, overall, At World's End was okay film. I think it was the weakest from the original trilogy, because I think that's where they wanted to end it, but then no, they got drawn back to do another. And the other that they got drawn back to do was On Stranger Tides in 2011, and it was directed by Rob Marshall. It has Johnny Depp returning back as Jack Sparrow. You have now Penelope Cruze as Angelica, an old love interest fling. I don't know. She ends up coming at the beginning portraying Johnny Depp, because Johnny Depp escapes from whatever he was going to get, pretty much the axe, and trying to find out who's this other Jack Sparrow pretending to be him. And we find out it's her, and a couple of cool sword fights and stuff like that. Not a lot of memorable thing. The only thing memorable for me was that you find out that she is connected. The tribal thing was pretty cool, but I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to get into details, guys. The cool thing was Ian McShane being introduced as Blackbeard. So not only are they dealing with pirates. They're expanding the lore. We're getting introduced to these big ass, badass pirates that are real, but they're putting in a modern day tweak and shit like that. But for the most part, loving it. Blackbeard and Barbossa's in there, and how they have a connection, and the backstabbing back and forth. We find out that what do you call it? There was some sort of connection between what do you call it? Oh my god, I'm blanking out. I gotta get the correct name, guys, because you're gonna shoot me, because I know you guys will. Mr. Tentacles, Davy Jones, and the Voodoo Lady, they were an item, and he had broken his vow to her to protect and do this, like Will Turner is doing now currently. That every 10 years you gotta, bring the dead to where they're supposed to go, and if you don't, you turn into hideous monsters, and that's what happened. Davy Jones and his crew got the tentacles and shit. But there's one cool scene when his face gets touched by her, and he kind of reverts back to her normal self, which was pretty cool. The special effects are phenomenal, and everybody's freaking out. And Johnny Depp wants this because he knows if he has this heart and over this person, he can take back his ship, and that's all he wanted. And then Blackbeard has it. I'm telling you, it was all nuts. But for the most part, interesting. And we also got the chance to see Keith Richards appear as Johnny Depp's father, which was pretty cool. It's like, are you serious? Keith Richards, but he blended in well, man. He did his cool little stint there, little 2-minute thing. It was cool. Penelope Cruz was great, but for me personally, I didn't have the same feels like I did with the original trilogy. Like when I'm used to characters for the first 3 films, and then all of a sudden you're trying to reintroduce someone else and kind of kickstart it again, even though you got Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp as the main character, you kind of lose that connection, that family bond, if you want to call it, even though that's crazy to say. But it was okay. Let's just say that, okay? It wasn't my favorite. It's probably my least from all of them. Even though we got Blackbeard, which Ian McShane nailed 100%. Was excellent. And there was a whole bunch of other crazy stuff that I'm leaving out, guys. But the fighting, oh my god, the Flying Dutchman previously with, what do you call it, Davy Jones. I forgot to mention his thing. And it was just bananas. Like, everything went bananas, which leads to a total finale of Dead Man Tells No Tale, and that's 2017. That's when everything gets unraveled, everything gets connected, all the dots and the T's get crossed, and you get the Flying Dutchman, you got the Black Pearls, you got mermaids. I'm telling you, it was phenomenal. You have the kids of 2 main characters of the franchise, villains. One not a villain, one's whatever, Will Turner's son and Keira Knightley's son. He's in it. You kind of figure it out at the beginning. If you don't have a brain, you ain't gonna figure it out. Then that's on you guys, because that's not spoiler. It's just common sense. That's who you thought it was. The girl that was introduced, what's her name? Karina. That kind of threw me for a loop. I hope it's not gonna be like a Star Wars Jedi mind trick that these 2 people are gonna start falling for each other, but then you find out that they're related, and it's like, don't you do that. That's what I was worried about. That's the only thing curveball I was expecting, but we didn't get, which was great. Yeah, she's connected to one of the villains, but I'm not going to say who, because when he goes down, even though he was the villain, such a douchebag from pretty much 4 out of the 5 films, you felt for him. But there was a reason why he acted like that, and the way they tied everything in his backstory, and the main actress, I guess, in this film, played by Keira Scodelario, was pretty cool. And of course, Brenton Thwaites, he played Henry Turner, Will and Elizabeth's kid, right? And the way they kind of fall for each other, and the way Johnny Depp's character kind of redeemed himself a little bit and kind of goes on his way, so it kind of gives us an opening that it's going to be another Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And the villain, Justice, you're wondering, are they dead? Are they not dead? What's the next thing? So they left it open-ended, which is pretty cool, because if they ever do another one, they can do so. But for the most part, if they just left it as is, as a 5-film franchise, it was good. I would honestly say 3 out of the 5 films were done well. 2, not so well. And out of the 2, maybe 1, so-so. Like, it was like a letdown. I was expecting more, but I didn't feel like that. But the first 2 were solid. The 3rd one was not bad. The 4th one was... The 5th one, it started to see, because now you're bringing back some characters that left us in the first 3 films. Introduced, maybe they're going to possibly go in another direction. So if there is a part 6, which they were in talks, and then, I don't know, there was the whole Margot Robbie shit and whatever going down. But overall, I highly recommend you check out the Pirates of the Caribbean 5-film, franchise for yourselves. It holds up today. Special effects, the storytelling is great, minus the one. I'll leave it at that. But you can't go any wrong. There's not a lot of 5-movie franchises out there that kind of like start off strong and kind of end up strong. It usually like teeters back and forth and then goes in a different direction. But it stayed true to what it was. It didn't get too crazy like Fast and the Furious. Okay? But it held to its core. Johnny Depp was a part of all of them. And I can't see them doing a Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp, personally, unless they reboot the whole thing. And you're starting from day one with new adventures, new characters, new everything, new lore, which is going to be hard to be, follow and to do, in my personal opinion. But loved it. I highly recommend it. And that's my overall review on the 5-film franchise called Pirates of the Caribbean. Hope you guys liked it. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other reviews, my unboxing videos, whatever, TV reviews, whatever I can get my hands on or have time to do, I will do, because I'm busy doing other stuff. But, enjoy. Stay off the King's Throne, and I'll see you guys where? Right here on YouTube land. Be the hell good.